Hey guys, welcome to Driveway Liberty Podcast, Wednesday night live stream. I am your Uncle Wes, and I'm sitting here with my good friends, Travis and Dan, here in the driveway. How you fellas doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. I actually got relieved. My wife described me as a sleep-deprived mother.
Yeah.
Dealing with the puppy over the past couple weeks.
Right.
This morning, normally I get up at like 6 o'clock and take care of the puppy before everybody. But the problem is the puppy don't go down until like 11.
Which is new because you're not an early riser.
Right. Yeah. I mean, before his foot, he had all that therapy. This dude was sleeping at like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the day. I mean,
well, when I
in
wasn't
the daytime.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I wasn't working. But yeah, so this morning I got to sleep in.
Man, I wish I could sleep till 9:30, 10 o'clock, even on days when I
Well, I
try.
slept until 7:30. I mean, it wasn't really.
Okay, fair enough.
I
Fair
didn't
enough.
sleep till noon.
Trav, what you been up to, man? You've been kind of quiet the last few days. We hadn't heard a lot out of you. What's up?
Well, I can't tell you all the details, but drove to Mariana this morning, made a rather large purchase for someone's birthday that's coming up. So
I think I know who.
So as I got back home and was taking my blood pressure medicine and thinking about what I just did, it's like, wow, all right, I'm getting old here. Like, it's basically all downhill. Like I'm on the backside of the mountain. Like we're just gonna start slamming down this hill as fast as possible.
Hey, Dan and I were talking before you got here. I was like, man, Travis been mighty quiet the last few days. I think he's come to grips with his mortality.
We all do at some point.
I'll be honest
And
with
then
you.
at some point you just say, fuck it.
I mean, any day past 40, based off how late teens, early 20s went, is a blessing. Like,
Look,
so,
man, my grandfather died at 42. Elvis died on the toilet at, 44? So when I got past those two ages, I was like, man,
You're in bonus time.
I'm in bonus time. I mean, I didn't do all the drugs Elvis did.
Right.
But I have taken some pretty hard poops in my life.
Right.
So,
Well,
anyway, thanks guys so much for sharing the gas.
It's a nice introduction.
Right? Yeah.
but I will say, like, you got to become a Patreon subscriber because, I mean, I'm not. I started doing the calculations after this purchase today. Like, yeah, I might have to get me a good pair of high heels and a short dress. Is what it looks like.
Man, you're gonna be hooking.
You'd be at the public libraries.
Doing something. Like my word.
Right? It's a big time stuff. All right, I'm sharing the broadcast here.
Well, we do have some exciting news today.
Yeah.
That Tom Brady retired again.
Again.
Right, yeah.
Again.
And he is not getting his wife back, I'm sure. I don't know that I'd want her since she dropped his ass when he went back. I mean,
now look at all the free time he's got.
Look.
And Tom Brady likes to have a good time. We learned that when he threw the Super Bowl trophy from his boat to another boat while he was shit-faced on tequila. So he'll be all right.
Tom and Giselle is a great reminder of the trueness of the old phrase, no matter how hot she is, somebody somewhere is sick of her shit too.
No doubt.
But yeah, it's funny. He basically was like, "Yeah, well, probably stayed 1 year too long." Like,
yeah, it was a rough year.
Yeah,
they were 8 and 9. Got divorced. Pretty much. Obviously we don't know all the details, but
I would imagine the divorce played into his play.
It was probably the well, I think him playing this year may have been the straw that broke the camel's
right.
back.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a healthy marriage, I don't think that's what breaks the camel's back.
No.
I think that was you were probably teeter-tottering, and she was like, "Okay, like we're done with this."
Right.
Daddy was going to be home. I was all excited.
Look, I mean, how many 7-time NFL Super Bowl winning quarterbacks can get divorced and get more money from his ex-wife? Because she's made more money than he has for a long time.
No doubt.
Crazy.
No doubt.
But God forbid something happens to my wife, just sells on the market. Might see you boys.
Hey.
Well, his last game was getting his ass handed to him by the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm definitely not going to judge you. You know. The what was I going to say? Oh, by the way, today's the first day to go out and nominate your favorite liberty-minded business or individual. You can go to the Driveway Liberty Podcast / oh shit, I'll put it in the comments. / something. Yeah, I forget what I titled it when I built the page.
You sent us a link, didn't you?
Yeah, won't you put it in the comments for us there, Dan?
Where'd you send it to us?
I think it's a Twitter thread.
Yeah, we're having some hot and heavy Twitter threads today.
Yeah, I tell you what, there's one, if you listen to the next cast that comes out, which will be next week. I want to go through. Dave Rubin had a Twitter thread. He spent 2 days at Twitter headquarters.
Right? Yeah.
And I thought it was fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
Truly fascinating.
I didn't get to check into a lot of it, but what little bit I saw was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting,
It was quite interesting. So we'll go through that in our bonus cast, evergreen cast. I don't know what the hell we call it these days.
It's our audio cast at this point.
Cast, okay.
Yeah, until we add more audio casts, that's what we'll call it.
Got it.
There is now a link in the menu on the homepage, so you can go to drivewaylibertypodcast.com, and I now have a link in the menu up top. Let me see it, make sure it lays out all right. Yeah.
I also put it in the comments.
That was the absolute wrong link. Let me fix that.
What's up, Jim Racky? Blast from the Past is chimed in. Hey, Jim, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
Good to see you too. Kevin Rolls in there.
What's up, Kev?
So I forgot to look at what we titled this, but I know that we talked about we were going to title it the Ron DeSantis Fanboy Hour.
I actually
like 8 different clips. I mean,
well, and DeSantis is going to be in Okaloosa County tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got word of that.
In Milton,
yeah. I'm not going to be able to go, but he's going to be in Milton.
In Milton.
Yeah.
That's where the Gulf Coast
rural farming.
Yeah, that's where the Gulf Coast Gun and Outdoors is.
Yes.
Up in Milton.
Who should absolutely be a sponsor, but they gave me crickets when I sent them an email. So, we wish them well. Maybe they just feel like they've got their own podcast too. So,
Lori.
Yeah, apparently. So, free shout out. $100 invoice coming your way.
Sweet.
I'm still sharing the cast and stuff, but
do your thing.
yeah, I do now actually have it in the menu. You go to the drivewaylibertypodcast.com, click on nominations in the menu, and it will take you to the nominations page where you can absolutely nominate your favorite liberty-minded business or individual. And so go there. There's a little form. It's a little short form. It's not anything crazy. And what we'll do is we'll take those nominations, and then after the nomination period's over, we're going to put them up to a vote and let you vote on who you think is the coolest or the greatest liberty-minded individual in business.
Can I make a suggestion? We'll have a quick business meeting live on the air.
Sure.
Because I was just like, I'm just going to go nominate Ron DeSantis. We're just going to give DeSantis an honorary.
It's really just not fair. Absolutely not fair.
We're going to give DeSantis an honorary, so we don't need 45.
Non-public office.
And we should have probably made some rules where it can't be a politician. It could be, your local
I don't know. There's a few
rec chairperson.
You do Matt Gaetz? I can get down with that, but I feel like we're going to have multiple nominations. But that's okay. I mean, I'm good with it.
No, that's fine.
We're going to give DeSantis an honorary ahead of time just to save the lopsided vote, the Eagles versus 49ers type finale. Hey, you want to vote for, we get to the finals. Hey, would you like to vote for the governor of Florida, probably the second most popular politician in the United States, or some random Joe Schmo who had a bunch of friends that, I feel like it's just going to not be fair.
That bet didn't work out too well for Swallowswell, did it?
No, it did not.
That was a beatdown.
Absolutely,
it
was.
A beatdown.
So, speaking of Gaetz, he got into an exchange with Jerry Nadler here recently. We're trying out some new stuff tonight, so if it's not working out great, then we apologize in advance. But let's give this a listen, see if this stuff's going to work here.
And our Pledge of Allegiance is a national symbol of pride and unity And it was a great honor to be able to invite one of my constituents this morning to offer the Pledge of Allegiance. And so my amendment gives the committee the opportunity to begin each of its meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. It gives our members the ability to invite inspirational constituents to be able to share and lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. I offered this amendment to the judiciary rules 2 years ago, and it was defeated, and I'm very optimistic that we'll have a different outcome today. That's the amendment, Mr. Chairman.
I thank the gentleman for his amendment. Support the amendment. Does anyone seek recognition? Gentleman from New York, Ranking Member Nadler.
I would oppose it simply on the grounds that, as members know, we pledge allegiance every day on the floor, and I don't know why we should pledge allegiance twice in the same day to show how patriotic we are.
So, yeah, I mean, you believe the Nads on Nadler?
Well, they're probably hitting his ankles.
Yeah, they're probably dragging. No doubt.
Well,
I mean,
his belt's up at his chin.
Well, yeah, his diaper's probably holding him up. But.
This dude, man, I mean, it just, what place are we at in this country that a sitting representative that was duly elected will sit there and say, you know what, I don't think we should be saying the pledge.
Well, it was, there's many other, this goes on much longer.
Yeah.
And there's a number of other clips. Gates did a response based on what Nadler said and what another Democrat. Remember the guy who said that Guam was going to tip over because there was too many people there?
Yep.
Yeah, he was from Georgia.
That knucklehead got on there and referenced the insurrection and 9/11 and talking about patriotism. I mean, it was an absurd rant.
So let me ask you this. What do we pledge an allegiance to?
The United States of America.
Yeah. That's
To the republic for which it stands.
And to the republic.
One nation.
The current,
under
the
God.
current one? The
No,
current one.
no.
Well, the one that previously existed,
The one that-
I think, is the
Well,
idea.
yeah. We should be.
The idea, right. I'll be honest with you, I'm not, I don't care to pledge allegiance to the current version of the United States of America in any way, shape, or form. And I'm fine with it not being said at all, as a matter of fact, because I think our current country needs to be defeated more than it needs to be pledged allegiance to or
Well,
conserved.
our government.
Yeah.
Well, I think that I see what you're saying.
Hello.
Got people
Y'all give us just a second. We are in a driveway. I don't
For
know
real.
if I've mentioned that.
This is proof we're in a drive.
Absolute proof.
Headlights
But I
on
also
our
don't
lights.
believe that we're one nation.
No,
we're
we
50 individuals.
There's an argument can be made that we probably should be 50 individuals, or at least, 13 here, 14 here, so on and so forth. But in the original intent of the pledge or the idea behind the pledge, I'm all for saying it. But the fact that Jerry Nadler had the balls to get up there and say, no, I'm not for it. But it actually shows, it is exemplary of what's going on in this country and what you're talking about. Absolutely it is.
We pledge allegiance to gay pride flags flying at embassies across the world. We pledge allegiance to
The
forcing-
Ukraine flag on the House of Representatives floor.
The Speaker of the House wearing a Ukraine lapel pin. Like, what are we pledging allegiance to? Like, I think we, as people who consider ourselves patriots, get hung up on this, what we think the country is or what we think the country should be, and it's just not. It's not. We can keep working towards that, but as it currently stands, I don't care to pledge allegiance to the United States government in any way, shape, or form. Very little part of it even remotely represents me, my beliefs, or what's better for my family.
Yeah, but the purpose of that is not to pledge allegiance to the current government. It's still about the idea and keeping it alive.
Is it? I mean,
I think it is. That's why I do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. The last few times I've had to say the pledge, I put my hand over my heart and I have said it.
Well, every football game I officiated, well, not all of them. Some of them just do the national anthem, but some of them do the pledge, and I say it.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing against it necessarily, but I'm not interested in going out of my way to say it. I mean, I'm not saying Nadler's right. Me and Nadler are saying it for completely different reasons.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
But just have a hard time.
Nadler's
pledging
happy
allegiance.
with the country. He wants
Well,
to keep it going in the direction.
Right. Yeah.
He's not happy with the way it's sitting right now because there's opposition.
Yeah.
He doesn't want opposition. He wants
Well,
the
I'm sure
bullshit
he's
that he
happier
wants.
with the country the way it is right now than it was 50 years ago,
Sure.
70 years ago.
So you know, I don't know. I'm a little torn on some of these things that are traditions that we're pledging allegiance or doing these things, and I understand, like, you know, we talk about the Constitution. Well, the Constitution's either ineffective or it just didn't work. Like like there's nothing in between because it hasn't stopped anything, right? And I blame us for that. But as it currently stands, we're sending another $2 billion to Ukraine. Like, we're sending 31 Abrams tanks. Here's my question about 31 Abrams tanks. The three of us, relatively intelligent guys, could not get an Abrams tank and figure it out, most likely. Like, we would have blown like 75 buildings up before we figured out how to go forward.
Dude, I'd absolutely love an opportunity to try.
I would love an opportunity to try. So we're sending Abrams tanks over for what? Well, who's operating? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a country that I care to pledge allegiance to, and that's my current stance on it. So I don't agree with Nadler's premise, but I kind of agree.
Well, I'm not mad at you about that. I'm not mad at you about that at all.
So, one of the big part of what Nadler said was, we already say it once, why say it again? It's a waste of time. That was his pushback. It takes 30 seconds to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And Gates points out,
In Nadler's defense, he's about 748 years old. He probably needs to cherish every second he's got.
well, score for him. But Gates points out that the majority of the time, Nadler's not even there on the House floor at the beginning when they do say it.
Right.
So
Well, it might be time for a diaper change when they start on the House floor.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, since we are
Travis, you took that in a different direction, but that's what happens.
that is kind of what happens.
See, that's also why I've started to stay quiet a lot. I don't want to give away all my opinions. I don't want to have the fights in the text thread. Not fights, have the discussion. Save it for him.
Man, I ignore it most of the time. I don't really ignore it. I look at headlines,
Yeah.
and I may look at an article or something. But
Hey, Cat's watching.
hey, Kat, how are you?
Sean's on. Sean roll.
Yeah, hey, Sean. And Kat, I saw your message on Instagram yesterday. I can't remember. Oh, you did. You said that about my daughter singing. I couldn't quite remember what it was, and I know it took me a while to respond, so I apologize
Okay,
for that.
can we move on to something that I'm more than happy to pledge allegiance to?
What's that, buddy?
Heavy D.
Heavy D in the state of Florida.
It is time for the Heavy D appreciation hour. So let's first thing is his stance on stoves.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. All right, go.
You ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
The first thing that we're going to propose is we want to make sure that everybody that goes through a Florida university has to take certain core course requirements that's really focused on giving them the foundation so that they can think for themselves. And the core curriculum must be grounded in actual history, the actual philosophy that has shaped Western civilization. Our institutions will be graduating students, I think, with degrees that are going to be meaningful. We don't want students to go through at taxpayer expense and graduate with a degree in zombie studies. And so this is going to make a difference.
Man, can you, dude? Hopefully y'all got to hear all of it. We are not hearing what you are hearing on the stream. We're actually trying to our best to coincide the audio because of the way the broadcast software is. It's kind of.
We need your
wonky.
Patreon support.
We definitely need your
we
Patreon
need some
support.
sponsors so we can upgrade our equipment.
I think I said it last week. He's got just enough petty that, like, for me, obviously, I would be far more petty, but I think within like a day. So the "Don't Tread on Florida" with the gator, right?
Yep.
So if you bought that T-shirt, it was technically a campaign donation, and you got a free T-shirt for making a $25 campaign donation.
Right.
Well, then when they did the gas stoves, they come out with this yellow apron, like you're going to be out grilling or something, and it says, "Don't tread on my stove," and it's got Ron DeSantis, and it was the same thing, and they sold out in like 8 hours.
Man, we need to get ahead of the curve and get those in the Driveway Liberty store.
So,
Speaking of which, you can go to merch and get you sweetie something for Valentine's Day.
We got some cool shit in there.
so,
Yeah.
but he just goes and picks fights to pick fights, and I love that. We haven't had that in a very long time.
Yeah, but he's picking deliberate fights
In a smart way.
in a direct attack to the stupid shit that they're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
you're gonna come out with some. I'm sure there's some. If you were locked in a house with no ventilation, and your natural gas stove was running for 3 days straight, and your kid was standing in front of it, yeah, there's probably going to be some issues with this.
Right. Yeah.
That's probably about to what this study amounted. Like, all they need is something in there, and then they roll out this study saying it affects children and it could lead to asthma.
Well, that's the scare point. I think we've talked about it before, is if the Democrats want to pass something, all they have to do is say it's for or to help or to save the children. When we know they don't really give a shit about children.
No.
They kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
They're super
Pre-born.
pissed off about not being able to kill them.
and if they actually make it to birth, they try to chop off healthy breasts and wieners. So
Oh, I got some
Yeah.
stuff on that.
yeah.
Yeah. So what this is a
We're
heavy
gonna
D
continue on the
appreciation.
heavy D because
right.
he was on fire today.
Let's go to windmills. You ready?
Wait. All right, got it.
And go.
To regulate and control everything people do. And we reject that in the state of Florida. They claim climate change for gas stoves. They claim all this stuff. Notice how they don't like gas, natural gas. They don't like oil. They say it all should be windmills and solar panels. But what's the cleanest of all? Nuclear. They almost all oppose nuclear. So they use that to control. So what we don't do in Florida is embrace things to just try to control people. But what we do is I have vulnerable areas in the state of Florida. We're a storm-prone state. If you look at what happened in Ian, some of the areas that had been fortified after Charlie and even a little after Irma, they did much better. So that's just recognizing that we're in this position to have to fend this stuff off. But that's really a positive thing that I think most people do. Take away gas stoves, take away this, all that other stuff. That's not going to happen in the state of Florida. And I do think that is really what they use more than anything else to try to justify exerting control over people in this country. And we're not going to let that happen.
So, I mean, Heavy D's coming out swinging, man. He's just like...
He's got a fresh haircut, too.
Yeah, he's on board, man.
Yeah.
He's
looking good.
wearing it out.
He's looking good.
He's looking
To
snazzy.
remind you, Wes has said multiple times he'd be gay for DeSantis if he had to. We have it on recording.
That I don't think that's exactly what I said, but
That's what I heard.
I think it was, if I were a gay man, that would be my man. But he is my man when it comes to elections. Speaking of which, Trump has already, he criticized it like 3 days before the election. He was criticizing. He come up with this name. I can't even remember what it was.
DeSanctimonious.
DeSanctimonious. Well,
dumb.
he whipped that stupid shit out again in the last week. And our boy, Heavy D,
Hold on. Sorry.
let me know when you're ready.
All right.
He came out swinging.
Yep, I'm ready.
And go.
I've criticized you a number of times in the past couple of days on a number of different issues, one of them being COVID in the state.
Well, look, what I would just say is this. I roll out of bed. I have people attacking me from all angles. It's been happening for many, many years. And if you look at the good thing about it, though, is like if you take a crisis situation like COVID, the good thing about it is when you're an elected executive, you have to make all kinds of decisions. You've got to steer that ship. And the good thing is that the people are able to render a judgment on that, whether they reelect you or not. And I'm happy to say, in my case, not only did we win reelection, we won with the highest percentage of the vote that any Republican governor candidate has in the history of the state of Florida. We won by the largest raw vote margin, over 1.5 million votes. than any governor candidate has ever had in Florida history. And in fact, we almost doubled the previous record, which I think was like 780,000 vote margin. And so what I would just say is that verdict has been rendered by the people of the state of Florida.
In other words, fuck you, Trump.
I mean, it's like,
Trump,
bam.
your shit don't fly here. So
Right,
Trump
yeah.
called him Ron DeSanctimonious, was criticizing him
Over his
about-
COVID policies.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean,
And he
I can't-
actually
I can't
said,
do this.
he said, DeSantis didn't open Florida.
Who the fuck opened Florida then?
He's like, he didn't have Florida open. And it's like, dude, the first couple weeks, nobody did anything because nobody knew.
Right.
And once everybody got kind of a little bit of a handle on this, that immediately said, well, listen, and I think DeSantis even said it, listen, we don't want the medicine to be worse than the freaking, the issue. So,
Yeah.
so he opened it back up, and he got all kinds of shit. Well, listen, in the state of Florida, people love him.
Oh, small business owners, especially
Hell
restaurant,
yes.
anything to do with tourism.
They absolutely love him. Look. I won't say he single-handedly did it, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
But he and the legislature, with his leadership, single-handedly saved this state economically, psychologically.
Well, I don't think people understand enough. This state without tourism is nothing.
Right?
The only other industry is military and fishing, and that ain't enough to keep this state going. And so I think the realization of that, and look, there was what, 5 weeks I think that we were somewhat closed. I would say by about the end of the second week, start of the third week, that most people in Florida were like, nah, this ain't flying.
Yeah,
Like, you
this
started
ain't working
seeing,
out.
you started seeing people in like Walmart without. I mean, it was basically like it started to be a free for all. He just kind of opened the gates. He just saved all the retailers a bunch of heartache.
Absolutely. So current day policy.
Hi,
All right.
Chris.
Kat brought up a very important thing that I want to reach out to all of you people who believe in the Second Amendment and defending yourself. Currently before the legislature in the state of Florida, if you're a Floridian, and we know we have viewers all over the country, but if you're a Floridian, there is a bill in the legislature about constitutional carry, but it is a very watered down bill. Basically, all that bill does at this point is waive the fees for a concealed carry permit. That's basically all it does. And it is extremely watered down. It is not constitutional carry at all. And Kat brought up the point that we need to be emailing our representatives here in the state and let them know that we don't want a watered down bill.
Why? I don't. Has anybody? I mean, it's $50. It's not like it's that much money.
It's not, but it's
So if
not
that's
the
your
money.
answer, no, I understand that. But your bill, you're saying you're doing a second of
You
the
still-
Republicans in our state Congress.
But I thought I saw something today that said like people were encouraged to get a permit, but you didn't have to conceal carry.
I haven't seen that in the actual
I thought that's what I saw.
language, but
The Walton Women's Republic Federated, whatever, shared something. So
what I've
I
seen
don't have
is
the- I don't have the-
is it's a very watered down scenario, and it still requires the background checks and the fingerprints. It's House Bill 543. Thank you, Kat, for posting that. I forgot the House Bill number. So it is something we definitely need to look at. And you know what? If you feel strongly about self-defense and defending, Second Amendment is an inalienable right. You were born with that right. You have the right to defend yourself and your family any way you see fit, regardless of what the liberals are saying about muskets and bullshit.
okay, so let's do this. It's 6:30, so you know what time it is.
Yep.
Then let's circle back
All right, you want me to read it
to
to
the.
you?
We're about to do beer reviews.
All right, we can do
We can
it.
circle back.
Well, I got
we can circle back to constitutional carry and the Trump stuff, because I think there's some stuff with this Trump DeSantis thing we need to hash out. But go.
Sure.
But all right.
All right.
Beer reviews.
Let's do some beer reviews. Beer reviews. I'll work the music in for next week, I think, if I have time.
All right. You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first, buddy. You've had a rough week.
So because of the large purchase we made, I ain't got no extra money.
Where are you putting it? That's what I want to know. Where's
At
it?
Sid's house.
Oh, okay.
So I had to go like through the garage fridge, through. I probably, out of the 6 beers I brought, have 4 different beers in here.
Nice.
So the best
I'm the
is
same
the Iron Maiden Hellcat IPA.
All right.
Nice.
Brewdog Brewery. I've reviewed it. This will be the 3rd time, I think. So
Right.
cheers. Quite delicious.
There you go.
Let me do the damn thing.
There you go. All right, that's enough.
Do it,
Dan, what you
James.
got? I should have put it right on. I should have put the whole camera on you. I'm sorry. Dan's drinking the Yingling.
Yeah, with the chocolate.
Did you
porter.
buy more of that? Is that still the same?
No, it's still. I bought a 12-pack originally.
Yeah, but I thought Wes had still sold like 1 or 2.
I've
for
drank three
multiple
or
pockets.
4. It was a 12
Yeah.
pack. I drank 3 or 4 of them.
Well, I'm in a similar situation, not because of the same reasons you, but because of Buckus. So the dog
Yeah.
gotta mind the pennies. So and plus time, I didn't have a chance to actually, because I literally take the dog to work with me.
Right.
So because Elena's a teacher, she can't really bring
A dog.
puppy with.
Well, it's pre-K. It should
I
be
mean,
a lot of
yeah, I was
fun.
about to say they would probably love her.
Maybe we're at the age where it could happen now.
Yeah.
But last couple of weeks, because he's like the puppy that you see active jumping around now.
Yeah.
Like in the dog food commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago he couldn't walk hardly.
Right, yeah.
And his eyes were barely open. So now we've nursed him into a healthy puppy. So
There you go.
he's
Nice.
doing good. So I haven't gone to the store. So I literally did the same thing that you did. I have like 5 different beers in my cooler.
Yeah.
And
So-
I have 2 of these.
So what I did is I found a scratch off in my truck. Yeah, I'm financially it's been rough. I mean,
Sure. Yeah.
eggs are at $10
There's a theme
for
to these
12.
beer reviews, everybody.
Yeah, I mean this is like, hey, sponsor us on Patreon kind of situation. So I did go to the store. I had a few minutes, so I ran down to. It's no longer Tom Thumb. It is something Farms. Cumberland Farms, and I still don't see any corn and shit growing in there. So I keep asking them, why are you using the farms? There's no cattle, lowing, none of that. But it's a convenience store with a farm on its name. So I went in and I got me a Miller Lite, but I'm using a different Auburn koozie tonight. It's my old Auburn koozie.
Wait, hey, really throwing a curveball there. Really throwing a curveball. Did not see that coming.
And it is delicious. So there's that. So those are your beer reviews. Beer reviews. We'll get the music in there.
So read the constitutional carry.
Yeah, let's go back to
Yeah,
that.
let's go back to
Okay.
that.
It's pretty short. It says concealed carry of weapons and firearms without a license. Authorizes person to carry concealed weapon or concealed firearm if he or she is licensed to do so or meets specific requirements. Requires a person who is carrying concealed weapon or concealed firearm without a license to carry identification and display upon demand by law enforcement. Prohibits person who is carrying a concealed weapon or concealed firearm without a license from carrying such weapon or firearm in specific locations. Authorizes non-residents to carry concealed weapon or concealed firearm in the state if he or she meets the same requirements as a resident. Provides a person authorized to carry concealed weapon or concealed firearm without license is subject to specific penalties for possessing such weapon or firearm at school-sponsored event or on school property. So basically, it what you said, Travis, it allows you to carry without a license.
But there's a few restrictions, right? There's no open carry.
There's no constitutional carry.
Right. No,
which is what we-
I agree.
Like
I think
we
it's
want
a-
constitutional carry. This is
I think it's a crap bill. I think there's the one thing I do like about DeSantis, like when the 15-week abortion thing, he kind of came out and said, look, we just feel like this is where most people are at, right? And I think he said it was a good starting point. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll hear.
No,
some
the
more.
good starting point is the fucking Constitution. That's the starting and the end.
I understand that, but I'm just. But there's so much shit that goes on that's unconstitutional.
Well, I understand that. But... All right, so
Right.
Kat said if you look this up, House Bill 543, just Google it, and you can expand the list of who's on the committee, and you can contact them. You can get their emails and blast the shit out of them.
Okay.
I don't know how much that'll help because the last committee took a dump on this thing because Sabatini was an asshole, but
Right. All right. So now let's circle back to the DeSantis Trump thing,
Right.
because I mean that's really over everything else on the right, at least. It's really the biggest thing going on right now.
yeah.
And I listened to just bits and pieces of Trump's speech. It's kind of classic Trump. But then, like the comments he made, it was on the airplane, and it was talking about this and that. And my first reaction was, "You just got done endorsing Lindsey Graham. Please don't talk to me about who does what."
Yeah.
Right.
I
I think Trump's just digging his grave.
Lindsey Graham. Please don't talk to me about who does what. I think DeSantis played
Trump's
that
just digging his grave.
not as perfect as you could play it.
Yeah, he didn't mention Trump. He
Please
didn't
don't
attack
talk to me
Trump.
about
He didn't
who
say
does-
anything negative about Trump. All he did was say, "The people spoke, and you're."
A suburban.
He said you're full of shit without telling him he's full.
A
of shit.
suburban wine mom hears that and doesn't recoil in horror.
Yeah, unlike Trump's response to somebody saying that about him would be a suburban wine mom recoiling.
Yeah. And so, like I've made it pretty clear. There's a couple issues that I really need Trump to make an about face on. I don't need a struggle session. I don't need a mea culpa. But I just at this point I'm really not sure I can support the man.
I can't.
I mean, and I don't mean just in the primary. I mean, like, I legit it would if we get to 2024.
Did you say you can?
Can't.
No.
If we
can't.
get to 2024 and the options are Biden, Newsom, Harris, Trump, and then if the Libertarian Party nominates Dave Smith, you gotta be honest with you. In that situation, I will vote for Dave Smith.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. I being honest, shooting straight from the hip, I don't think it's a secret. I didn't vote for Trump the first two times.
Right.
And only reason why is this was my reasoning then was because Trump. Second Amendment's one of my hot button issues. It's one of my biggest ones. And Trump has been on the record before he ever run for president saying he was for gun control. Now, when he got the nomination or during the primary, a lot of Republicans just overlooked the shit out of that. I'm like, and they said, no, he's different now. No.
Well, look what he did with bump stocks.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming in with bump stocks, and I threw it, and I told you so on that. I mean, look, I think if you can afford it, you should be able to have a nuclear silo in your backyard. I absolutely believe that because I believe in the principle of mutually assured destruction. If I have a big stick and you also have a big stick, I'm not going to hit you with my big stick.
Right.
Because I don't want to be hit with your big stick.
Well, the Second Amendment obviously is extremely important to me. The COVID response and the COVID jabs, just a simple acknowledgement of maybe it didn't save 100 million lives.
Right.
Like he just keeps repeating that 100 million lives, 100 million lives, 100 million lives. Like actually, by the best estimate coming out of Michigan State University, across the world, the jabs have killed more people than the Holocaust.
Right.
How many lives did it save? Well, I think negligent. Who knows? I mean, in older people, it probably does help.
Right.
I don't know. Is there proof that it does? Has there been any scientific proof
Very
that it
minimal.
does?
Very minimal. And so
They keep saying it
like
keeps you
I think there's
out,
a
I mean-
well, I think there's a short term maybe kind of boost if you don't die, right? But I just that is such a, to me it is such a living in reality versus living in the world that you want to have happened.
Right.
I can't vote for somebody for president that's living in
That denies reality.
that just denies
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah. No, I know. What you're
And look,
saying. I
you don't
agree.
have to be like me and demand that it be completely taken off the market in every way, shape, or form. I get that. Like, I know that's a very, very small percentage of people that would ever feel that way. But
Right.
some kind of acknowledgement that, oh man, this didn't
Well,
go very well.
I'm in
People are
that
dying.
camp.
People are dying. And you know what? Maybe we should go after Pfizer and Moderna.
I'm in the camp of not only should it be outlawed, but we need to have trials for the people who work for these pharmaceutical companies.
And I think we should get into it more in the audio cast, the Project Veritas video, where one of their executives basically said, yeah, we're doing gain of function. And they don't call it directed evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, let's table that because I got
Yeah,
a
that
lot
we've
to
got a
talk
slide
about.
on that
Yeah.
too.
We
that
got a
we
lot
can
to
go
talk
in.
about on that.
We
So-
may go long tonight.
So if you can't be in that kind of reality of, look, I don't know that any politician, Ron DeSantis included, is where I want them to be. Okay, I would say Ron DeSantis with the assistance of Joseph Ladapo, the Surgeon General of the state of Florida, are at least heading in the right direction of starting to ask the right questions. I know that this is delicate. I know Matt Gaetz says on every podcast the boomers love the jabs. That's fine. I get it. And you got to have their votes. You got to have their money. I get all that. However, there's a way to talk people through this conversation that I think people already internally know, hey, something's not right. Hey, maybe I took this and something's not right.
Right.
But they can't admit that they were wrong. They can't admit they were duped. And so you just got to slowly walk them through with just piece by piece, right? It's not going to help but just rip the Band-Aid off. Like, people aren't just going to be like, oh my God, but so I can't vote for somebody that's just not living in reality. If you truly believe, and he repeats it over and over, so I have no inclination to think he doesn't believe it, that those things saved 100 million lives, you can't earn my vote with that.
No, absolutely not. I mean, you look at Florida as an example. Our death rate was no worse than the worst state. Matter of fact, it was one of the best death rates.
You adjust for age, and it was damn good.
It was very damn good. And the fact that for him to come out that strong because he was initiating the vaccine, and that's what people forget. They remember the first 3 years where everything was going great economically and everything was all roses and rainbows, and we were bringing jobs back to the U.S. and all this great economic stuff was happening. And I'm the first to admit that.
Yeah,
We actually had a conversation on this podcast. Was he the best foreign policy president we've seen?
100%.
Yeah.
Foreign policy, 100% the best. I get that, and that's a big deal, and the economic piece of it was a big deal. But when I go do we have every now and then we go do what's a kind of formal customer business review with very large customers that we
Right.
have. Typically, it's me. It's the person that works for me, it's my boss, and typically some other senior leadership of sales.
Right.
Okay? And I am very, forthcoming of, hey, look, we're going to get together after this, and we're going to go through, hey, what worked, what didn't, what could we have done better, all those different things. We're going to break down how the thing went so that we get better at it. And, hey, where do we think we gained here? What do we think we missed? All those things. And I think you look at the economic factors that Trump had in those first 3 years, and they're unbelievable. And the foreign policy was unbelievable. But if you start to dig a little bit deeper into personnel, into some of the policies like the bump stock stuff,
Yeah.
you start to dig into the personnel, what the FBI was doing, what the CIA was doing, what all these things, what was going on in the Department of Defense, all these different things. Yeah, it was successful from an economic standpoint, a foreign policy standpoint, but we didn't lay the groundwork to fix anything.
Yep.
Yeah, there was no draining of the swamp. He actually, in Christopher Wray, choice for FBI director, he emboldened the swamp. He freaking fortified it.
Yeah. I mean,
in that regard,
Mike Pompeo was a pretty darn good Secretary of State.
As
a CIA
certain things.
On certain things. As a CIA director, I don't know that he did anything to root out any of the issues in the CIA.
I think we'd be remiss, speaking of, three-letter agencies, if we didn't mention that Biden apparently has every classified document ever known through his entire 40-something years in public office in one of his properties.
So, well,
you know what they did today?
What's the reason
They got the FBI went to his damn beach house.
Okay, so the lawyers went to his beach house and said there was no classified documents. The FBI went today. They didn't find any classified documents, but what they did find was Biden's handwritten notes on a shit ton of classified documents. So they took all that stuff. They took all that stuff.
So why do you think this keeps coming out?
They're trying to get him out. I mean, they're trying to get him out of the way.
Are they? So I think it's one of two things, or maybe it's both. They're trying to get Biden out. I truly think someone in the DNC has done the math and said, yeah, we can smoke Trump. So
yeah.
How about
they're keeping the Trump
So how about we
alive.
start walking this back, right? Because this was going on before the midterms. They knew these documents were there before the midterms. Didn't come out before the midterms.
Yeah.
Shockingly.
Weird how that worked out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right after the midterms, Trump announces, and then it just starts to slow roll out that apparently every classified document in the history of the United States Joe Biden has.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And then
it's got an original copy of the Articles of Confederation.
But here's the thing, though. This situation, like when it came out with Trump, you could make this case against every president of the United States for the past 100 years.
Sure you can.
They all have this stuff. And when they leave office, some of this stuff is personal to them.
Sure.
They want to keep it. And listen, I was president for 4 years or 8 years. These are my memoirs or whatever. These are things that happened while I was in office. I want some of those. And that's perfectly natural.
Right.
That's normal. It happened. Every president does it. But because they had to find something on Trump, they've spent fucking 6 years now, 8 years now, trying to find something on Trump. They really don't have anything.
Right.
Yeah, if they had something, he'd be in jail already.
Oh, yeah. So they're doing this. Even the tax evasion bullshit or the tax issues in New York isn't going to be pinned on Trump.
And I know we're getting sidetracked on a lot of stuff, but the fact
This
that
is what
you
we do,
feel
brother.
like you need to see the tax information for somebody running for public office, I don't get that. I know you want them to, they're going to have a fiduciary responsibility when they get into office. I get that. But it's none of anybody's damn business how much I pay on taxes, how much you pay on taxes, or anything like that.
What's the actual benign,
Is to
noble
find
purpose of that?
something to, noble?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I don't have an answer
What's
for
the
that.
good reason for that? What's the
There is no good reason.
if you want to see somebody's tax? Well, what's the reason they tell you? They
Like,
want to make sure that they're governing not for their own personal financial benefit.
Well, the thing is, they're not in office. How are they able to govern for their own financial benefit? They're looking for a nepotism
But they
thing
won't
or
pass
some
that.
sort of.
They won't pass that.
No. And
'Cause
nobody's actually looking for nepotism.
No, they're
No, but that's
it's
the
fucking
they're-
blatant. They're not. Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
what's the purpose of
Nobody's
demanding
calling for
tax
Joe
returns?
Biden's tax records. I would love to see a financial audit of the Biden family.
there was a report that came out today. Speaking of that, I mean, we're just jumping, we're chasing rabbits like a sumbitch here. A report came out today that as soon as Russia invaded the Ukraine, Zelensky
Yeah.
fucking destroyed. I mean, just that company that fucking Hunter Biden was associated with over there.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just went in and destroyed documents and everything else.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
Ukraine is the money laundering nation of the world,
Yeah.
the Western world.
Well, I heard it explained very well the last couple of days when the Soviet Union broke up. Okay, even under communism, you still had the Soviet oligarchs. They were moving towards kind of a capitalistic, but you had the oligarchs, right?
Yes.
And who was it before Putin? The first guy, when Putin took over, he kind of looked at the oligarchs and said, no, we're not doing this. Not saying Putin's a great guy. Let me be very clear, okay? But he kind of looked at some of these Russian oligarchs who were going around like buying nukes and shit. Like literally everything the government had for sale, like just became for sale. And these guys, through communism, had found somebody's always getting rich in communism. These guys had figured it out, so they had all the money. They just started buying a bunch of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, when Putin came in and said, no, we're going to change this, right? And he kind of forced some of these oligarchs out of Russia. Where'd they go? It wasn't a very far trip. Ukraine.
They right there.
Yep.
They are right there. Absolutely. So, speaking of corruption, let's bring it back home. All right, we already know that big tech is slanted, not in our favor. Elon Musk has kind of come in and shown that with proof in regards to what was going on at Twitter. But an insider at YouTube leaked a document related to Project Veritas's gotcha on Pfizer. And I don't know if you at home or you're watching on your phone or whatever, but that's the document where they came up with some bullshit on why to pull down the Project Veritas video.
Man, the first paragraph was like, sorry, Pfizer's response, excuse me. I'll save that. YouTube, whatever we think we found at Twitter, it's a million times worse at YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
And Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely it is.
And the biggest issue is we're just creating different realities for people.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of people that have no clue about the Project Veritas, even with 30 million views or 40 million views.
Yeah, that's what, 10% of the entire population.
So 90% of the people in this country, if I said, Pfizer's doing gain of function research, they'd be like, what are you talking about, freaking moron? Like, hey, turn off InfoWars. Well, okay, well, I got a video here that
the head of R&D says it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
because what they're doing, Project Veritas apparently has some hot guys that are posing as gay men and picking up these guys. That's how they got this guy.
Well, I mean, I'm not that committed to it, but I get it from a look standpoint. Whatever, hit me up. Like I didn't know the parameters.
But that's what they're doing. That's how they're getting in to get these guys to open up.
Yeah.
They give them a few drinks. They're whining and dining them.
Well, this latest one apparently is like the third date. Like, man, that is a commitment. I don't know.
I mean, what depths are you going to get that information?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. What are the parameters?
Right. Man,
I don't know what's happening off camera, but
it's none of my business.
But that's how they're getting them to open up.
But all right, so on Facebook, so if you posted that to Facebook, do you think their algorithm would let it just go viral?
Oh shit, no.
Absolutely not.
The only place I'm hearing from it or hearing about it is Twitter.
Yeah. All right, so Facebook and YouTube have the most daily users by significant 10 times.
Yeah.
And this is being throttled by YouTube.
Oh, and
Facebook.
I have no doubt this stream's going to be throttled on Facebook.
The video got pulled down.
On YouTube.
The video's gone on YouTube.
Right. Facebook doesn't have to. They can just crush it.
Yeah. Nobody will see it.
Yeah. So, big tech is, and we had the conversation when it came to like the Crowder versus Daily Wire thing. Like, how do you beat this? Like, these companies are like monoliths,
right?
They're not unbeatable. I get it, but like Rumble's coming up. I like Rumble. It's not as easy to use as YouTube. It's just not.
No, it's
not as friendly for creators.
No.
At least get it started. No big deal. It is what it is. You got a business plan.
Right.
I'm not hating on your business plan. But how do you get? I don't know. I don't know what we do.
But I don't want to lose sight of the actual content of the video. Like we have a pharmaceutical.
In the audio cast.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's a tease now.
Yeah, it's an absolute tease. Yeah.
In our format, it's tough to tease because we go on rants and
Right.
Well, I know, but you have to, when you hear that and you hear it's going to the audio cast, you have to just mentally file that away.
okay, I filed it away.
Absolutely.
I just did.
So real quick, because we're starting to run out of time, do you want to talk about the Mayorkas interview? Do y'all want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Let's chase another rabbit real quick. All right, let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, and go.
Some of the criticism includes, for example, the 600,000 plus getaways, folks who came into this country and did not go through the process of requesting asylum. So do you know where they are and who they are, the people that don't request asylum when they arrive here?
So for the first time since 2011, the President of the United States presented a budget successfully that increased the number of Border Patrol agents. For the first time this year, we have 300 more Border Patrol agent eligibility positions than we did in the past. We are making tremendous strides. We are devoting tremendous resources to enhance our border security, and we will keep at it.
Do you know where they are and who they are?
So gotaways have been a challenge from year to year, regardless of the administration. Whether it's more than 1 million in the early part of this department's administration, or it's hundreds of thousands over the ensuing years. But what we are doing is we are dedicating people, physical assets, and an increasing reliance and use of innovative technology to enhance our visibility and our interdiction capabilities.
Well, it's not about their visibility. It's about the million that just come across,
So
and he has no fucking clue where they are.
MSNBC shooting this video on a freaking Miami Beach dock.
Right?
Like, why?
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, do you know where the 1.1 million gotaways are?
No.
Let me tell you all about what we're doing.
For the first time a budget,
And then, do you know where and who they are?
Well, my first thought when he said, well, you hired 3.
No, but we're not as bad as everybody's been in the past.
Right. No, well, no. He said we hired 300,000 new immigration agents. And my first thought is, what are y'all doing? Just standing there watching them run across the border?
No, they're whipping
You got a
them.
bigger
They're whipping
crowd.
them
He said
with- They're
300.
on horses whipping.
300.
300. Oh,
300,
what do you,
yeah.
Shit. Yeah. They're just standing there watching these some bitches come across.
Probably just like
They're
accountants.
literally
and-
not doing anything.
Yeah.
They're just processing people.
Just
You know, what they're doing is processing their benefits.
Yeah.
It's like, here's your bennies.
Which, I mean, if you've seen the price of chicken lately, I mean, it's not all bad. That's all I'm saying.
You're
But
right.
you know, again, we go back to, if you guys remember, we had Shane Abbott on, and he stood pretty tough on illegal immigration, and I asked him, and because my dad rode with me today to make this large purchase, and he's like, "Oh, Trump's former, what is it, Secretary of whatever Mayorkas is, DHS." So, they're gonna go round them up, send them home. Like, great. How many businesses going to shut down? What's going to happen to the price of chicken? And I mean, like, we're in such a bad spot with immigration that, like, we've almost made our bed so bad I don't even know how we get out of it.
Right? It's man, dude. It's absolutely ridiculous. But hey, we're out of time. We want to thank everybody that's tuned in and commented. We apologize if we didn't get to your comment. We want to give a shout out to Matt Ferguson, who joined us a little while ago. Kat, obviously, we love you, Kat. Kevin Rull, his wife.
Chris was on.
Chris.
I still can't pronounce her last name.
Dude, it's real.
Oh, Chris. She
Frederati.
She gave us an anger face and left, I think.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, I don't know what she's angry about, but whatever.
I said hi, Chris.
Yeah. Is that what she was mad about?
Listen, we go on a rant in here and we don't acknowledge your comments. We apologize.
Yeah, we do apologize. We do read them. We don't always get to them. But thank you so much for tuning in. If you're not already a Patreon supporter, go to patreon.com, Driveway Liberty Podcast. And you can, depending on the level that you support us at, you can get some free merch. That will help us update equipment and maybe even move into providing more content on a regular basis. With that being said, for Travis and Daniel, I am your Uncle Wes, and we will see you next time on the Driveway Liberty podcast.